We all live today in dark times. Probably this is a common thought that was expressed by many people throughout the history. But I'm pretty sure that if any one of them could witness the infinite amount of crises that surround us nowadays, they would all agree with me. We do live in dark times. There are wars everywhere. Material and spiritual poverty is stronger than ever. Our planet is dying. Our neighbors are not paying the taxes. And my cat is always angry. Everyone tries to explain why is our time so intensely concentrated of this crisis, and one of the most recent theories comes from a Greek economist named Yanis Varoufakis. In his recent book, Technofeudalism, What Killed Capitalism, he argues that our current crisis is the result of a major shift in the economic system. How did this shift happen? And what is the new economical era that is silently dominating our world? In this video, we are going to answer these questions. Varoufakis argues that capitalism is being replaced by a new form of economic domination, namely techno-feudalism. To understand this shift, we need first to look at the key differences between these two systems. Historically, feudalism was the economic system of the Middle Age. It was based on the land ownership. Wealthy landowners controlled land and extracted rents from those people who were working on it. Capitalism disrupted this model by replacing land as primary source of wealth with capital investment, competition, and innovation. Free markets encouraged entrepreneurship, and profits were reinvested into the economy. Under capitalism, wealth was generated through competition and innovation rather than passive rent collection. Today we are shifting from the capitalism back to the feudalism, where wealth is no longer created through competition and production, but by controlling digital platforms. Therefore, Varoufakis names it techno-feudalism. We are moving from a profit-driven economy to one where a small group of powerful individuals, whom he calls cloudalists, control access to digital platforms and extract rent from their use. Companies such as Amazon, Google, or Meta act as centralized digital fiefdoms, determining who can sell, buy, and communicate within their platforms. This marks a return to a feudal-like system, only now the land being controlled is the digital economy itself. To understand the connection between techno-feudalism and the world's current challenges, we need to examine how our economic system is changing. Traditionally, capitalism was defined by profits and competition. Entrepreneurs innovated, produced goods, and earned profits through sales. But under techno-feudalism, these dynamics are being replaced by rents and digital monopolies. Varoufakis suggests that companies like Amazon are not operating as traditional marketplaces, but as modern digital fiefdoms. Their platforms, controlled by algorithms, determine what can be sold and who can sell it. Every transaction on these platforms generates a fee for the owners, much like feudal lords collecting rent from their land. Instead of independent, decentralized markets, we now have centralized digital spaces where algorithms dictate economic activity. These cloud-based platforms extract large fees from each transaction, sometimes up to 30%. Because they own the digital land where business takes place, cloudalists profit without having to compete with traditional capitalists. This shift undermines the free market system. In the past, capitalism encouraged entrepreneurs to create and sell new goods and services to make a profit. But in the age of techno-feudalism, wealth is accumulated not through production and competition, but by charging rent from access to digital platforms. Just like feudal lords profited from the land ownership without producing anything, modern caudalists gain wealth by controlling digital spaces where businesses are operated. Entrepreneurs are increasingly dependent on these platforms, becoming vassals to their digital overlords. There is a key difference between profit and rent. Profits are often reinvested into the economy, driving growth and innovation, whereas rents are simply extracted and stored, benefiting only a few wealthy individuals. This concentration of wealth limits economic circulation and deepens inequality. Meanwhile, entrepreneurs have little choice but to submit to capitalist control. Losing access to major platforms or search engines can erase a business from the digital world overnight. As more independent businesses and developers are forced to operate within these cloud-controlled platforms, the capitalist economy still generates value. But much of it is siphoned off as rent by those who own the digital infrastructure. The shift from capitalism to technofeudalism is also transforming labor, with negative consequences for workers. Under capitalism, capitalists relied on wage labor to generate profits, which were then reinvested in the economy and paid out as wages. In contrast, cloud capital grows at no cost, making traditional wage labor less relevant. Social media posts, online reviews, and user-generated content fuel the wealth of tech giants. Without the constant flow of updates, videos, and interactions from billions of people, platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok would have little value. Yet users, namely us, receive no compensation for their labor. In this sense, we have become cloud serfs, contributing to wealth of small elite without even realizing it. At the same time, those who do work for tech companies, cloud pros, face harsh conditions, low pay, and algorithmic surveillance. Unlike traditional capitalists who reinvest profits into wages, tech giants distribute only a fraction of their revenues to workers. While industrial workers once received up to 80% of company revenues in wages, cloud pros receive less than 1%. The majority of the work is done for free by unpaid cloud serfs, namely us. Beyond labor, technofeudalism also changes how desires are created and commodified. In the past, television advertisers shape consumers' preferences. Today, cloud algorithms do this far more effectively. By analyzing an immense amount of personal data, algorithms manipulate user behavior, subtly steering choices and purchases. Devices like, for example, Alexa function as behavioral modification tools, learning from user habits to influence future decisions. This level of data-driven manipulation represents a completely new shift in economic power. What do these changes mean for our daily lives? And how do they relate to the ongoing polycrisis? The technofeudalism has far-reaching consequences across society. First, it undermines the idea of a free market driven by independent individuals. Instead, economic power is being concentrated in the hands of few who control cloud capital and dictate market rules through algorithms. This growing monopoly widens inequality, making entire industries from traditional capitalists to everyday workers increasingly dependent on a small elite. As a result, society is shifting from a decentralized market to an economic order dominated by few individuals whose wealth can rival an entire nation. And we can clearly see how these few people can lead and control our world. Labor conditions are also deteriorating. High-tech workers receive wages that are minuscule compared to the corporate earnings, while the majority of digital labor is unpaid and unnoticed. The ability of workers to organize is further weaker because technofeudalism turns us all into unrecognized laborers. Users generate value without realizing they are being exploited. In the past, governments mediated between workers and business owners, enforcing labor protection. Today, tech corporations wield so much power that regulating them is nearly impossible. Cloud serfs, namely us, don't recognize their own exploitation, and cloud pros, namely the workers, are too weak to form strong unions. As a result, trade unions are collapsing and social democracy is fading away. Varoufakis writes, "Social democracy is now impossible. In the past, unions could pressure industrialists. Today, cloudalists fear no unions. Cloud pros are too weak to organize, and cloud serfs don't even see themselves as workers." Beyond the economy, technofeudalism threatens democracy itself. The rise of algorithm-driven manipulation undermines the idea of autonomous, rational individual, the very foundation of a democratic society. If all of us can be constantly influenced by digital systems, resisting corporate power becomes one of the most defining challenges of our era. So what can we do? The first step is for sure to be aware of the world where we live in. Just look around yourself and start questioning things. Don't stop at the surface of the problems, but try to go deeper and understand the mechanism behind them. Stop repeating the opinions of others and start developing your own ideas. Getting awareness is the first step to be more cautious about your future choices. This video is based on an article written by Christoforos Kyriakidis. If you want to know more, I will leave the link in the description to download the full article. Thank you for watching this video. I'm Ivan and this is Empyreon, the Academy of Philosophy and Fine Arts.